You're going to be in the shot if you keep coming outside. You do know this is going in. What are you doing?
I'm chilling now.
Chill on that side where the camera does.
It's just clear.
All right, wait like a minute. It's fine. All of these people want to be in the shot. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. Today we are here with Triumph's Tiger 1200 GT Explorer. This bike was basically meant 100% to compete with the bigger GS, the GS Adventure. Now, I'm by no means a tiny guy, and this is a huge bike right next to me. So is the GS, so they are both in the same category. I've been spending quite a bit of time with this bike, getting to know its good points, its bad points, how it feels to ride, and basically what type of rider it's for. If this has made you shortlist, then stick around. You guys have sent in some questions. We'll go through those at the end, the Q&A session. Thank you for that. Let's start with, I think, the most important part. Riding position is adventure style, which means that your back is almost straight, your hands are not too strained on the handlebars, and there isn't a very pronounced angle in your knees. So it can be comfortable for spending lots of consecutive hours in the saddle. This one is that, but a little bit sportier, which means that your back is going to be just the tiniest amount leaned forward on the handlebars. It might be a problem because you're pushing a lot of your weight, well, a bit of your weight on the handlebars, and your hand might start hurting. But again, you're relieving some weight from your bum, which is going to feel better. All in all, for a few consecutive hours that I've ridden it without getting it off, absolutely no problem with the seating position. It's a proper adventure one. All right, engine. Let's talk about the engine a little bit. That's the heart of the bike. It's what's going to give you the most fun factor. If it's a slouch on any bike, you're not going to have fun. If it's too sporty, you're going to be too scared to ride it. I've never ridden a Triumph before. I've never ridden a triple engine before. What I was expecting was something between, obviously, a 2-cylinder, a parallel twin, a boxer, and a sporty 4-cylinder. Is that a plane taking off?
It's in between a 2-cylinder and a 4-cylinder. I know what the 2-cylinder feels like, I know what a 4-cylinder feels like, so I was expecting something in between. I'm not getting that. I'm getting a lot more 2-cylinder vibes.
And I sort of got that. It is, however, leaning a lot more towards a 2-cylinder than a sporty 4-cylinder. There are a lot more vibrations after 5,000 RPM.
Let's go up to 5,000. I am getting some vibes from the handlebars, which are going to become irritating for a long, if you're riding for a long period of time. 6,000. I'm getting vibes from the foot pegs as well now. Let's go to 7,000. 7,000. Hands are vibrating quite a lot. Feet are vibrating quite a lot. You're not going to be spending much time here, let's be honest. 8,000. Yeah, it's too much. It's too crazy.
You're not going to be spending a lot of time there, so it's not going to be a problem. However, when you do try and have fun, and obviously this bike redlines at about 10,000 RPM, it's going to get vibey. It's going to get, it's going to tell you that, hey, we're having fun now, we're going fast. What surprised me the most about this power plant, and I don't know if there's a bike that I've seen this on. It has enough power to give you, even at 8,000 RPM, even at 9,000 RPM, which, I mean, it makes its peak power at 9,000 RPM. So you're having fun throughout the whole rev range.
This thing is incredible. You are still getting power at 7,000 RPM. There is plenty of power at 8,000 RPM. That is just mental.
The trade-off of this is that you don't get a lot of low-down torque. That's mainly gonna matter if you decide to take it on off-road. Gearbox, 6-speed, absolutely no problem that I saw on there. This one comes paired with a quick shifter, and let me tell you, this has been, I think, the best quick shifter that I've ever tested on a bike. Never missed a gear. You can actually downshift on this even if you have the throttle open. I've never seen that again on other bikes. It is buttered smooth, so whatever Tiger 1200 you decide to go for, I think there are 5 different versions of it. Triumph has given you a lot of choice there. Don't skip the quick shifter. It's a lot of fun, especially paired with this engine. Still sticking with the engine, the main problem that I did have with it was the throttle. The throttle to me seems a bit too snatchy. It kicks you quite a bit. If you go off the throttle, you're riding around in town. If you go off the throttle and then try apply a little power, every single time it's gonna kick you, and it really becomes, you know, not good after a while. So I don't know what's going on there.
We're in second gear, 4,000 RPM, and if you take your hand off the gas and then apply a bit of gas, there's a little kick that I'm not really too much fond of. It's not really as refined as I would have expected a 3-cylinder to be. Let's see what happens when we do this at higher RPM. Exactly the same thing.
The clutch as well, not the most precise. I don't use it a lot. I'm in love with that quick shifter. Not very precise, and it's a weird clutch. It's got a hydraulic tank, but if you take a look on the other side, it's cable operated. So it's some sort of hybrid thing. I'm not really a fan of the clutch. Mirrors, very good in the city, very good at lower speeds. The moment you go at highway speeds, 5,000 RPM, they tend to be quite a bit wobbly and blurry, and can't really make out a lot in there. Design-wise, not really my cup of tea, to be honest. And I've heard a lot of people complaining about most of Triumph's design. There isn't a flat surface on it. It's like Triumph designed it and then carried on designing it and adding little things that have no reason to be there. Again, you look at it and it's this whole soup of absolutely all sorts of design techniques thrown on there. So I don't know. It's not. People haven't given me, you know, looks on the road while riding it, so that's how I know it's not really a particularly beautiful bike. Headlights, obviously full LED everywhere. It's got auxiliary lights as well. The headlights do come with cornering lights. Unfortunately, I have not been able to test that, so I cannot tell you if it's good or not, but I'm always glad to see cornering lights on bikes, leaning lights. Now, this is a premium bike from Triumph, and they are trying to make a great name for themselves with the new Tiger. Obviously, it comes with They decided to put Brembo style lemons on there, which are absolutely brilliant. 4-pot, linear braking, no woodenness. I have no complaints with these brakes.
Brakes are very good.
The same with the suspension. It's semi-electronically adjustable. The preload is auto-adjusting, so the bike will sense whatever weight has been put on it, whether it's a single rider, if you've got luggage, if you've got a passenger as well. It'll keep you the same level, but the damping, through the different riding modes, you can adjust 9 different levels. And let me tell you, maybe there shouldn't have been 9, maybe 6 would have been enough. There is a huge difference between level number 1 and level number 9.
Let's go over these manholes. Yeah, that is a big difference in the suspension. Setting number 1 is a lot more relaxed now. It's a lot more comfortable. So if you live in a place where you don't really have such great roads, like I do, then you're going to be appreciating all of those 9 different levels of suspension travels. Maybe there shouldn't be 9.
Electronics, Triumph has put this huge 7-inch TFT here. I'm not in love with its software at all. It's sluggish from the moment you start it. It's sluggish. I mean, what you're going to see most of the time is a big RPM meter, and that is sluggish, and you're going to be looking at it quite a lot. I was expecting it to be at least 60 FPS, but it's not. It seems like 30 FPS or something like that. You're going to be in the shot if you keep coming outside. You do know this is going in. What are you doing?
I'm chilling now.
Chill on that side where the camera does.
It's just clear.
All right, wait like a minute. It's fine. All of these people want to be in the shot. You've got 5 different riding modes. 4 of them are configured by Triumph, but you can change the suspension, the traction control there as well. The 5th one is a user configurable one. That one you can set the suspension from 9 different levels, as I said, traction control, throttle response as well. There's lots of customization in all of the menus. The menus are navigated using a little joystick, which I think it's because of the British humor. Triumph decided to put the little navigation joystick right underneath the turn signal, which again is a joystick in its own right. So you're going to be signaling a lot if you're not used to the bike. Once you get to know the software, it becomes quite easy to use. As a first-time rider, I got confused by the way its menu structure worked, the way its joystick worked. But all in all, I think the software is about 70% ready. I think they really should be putting a bit more work in it, especially on the hardware side, because stuttering graphics on a 21,500 euro bike is not really something that we should be condoning. For the first time, one feature that I've never seen on a bike before is our blind spot monitors. They are located on the mirrors here. There are big amber lights, and they're hooked up to a radar on the rear there, and they work perfectly since I've gotten it. And I'm very glad to see these type of safety system put onto bikes, especially on premium bikes. Hi, Sushi. Hi, La Copite. Hi. Nat. Give her a piece of chicken, man. All right, let's move on to some of the things that didn't really impress me about the bike. And these are always more interesting. Let's start off with the windshield. The windshield, one great function of it is that it can easily be adjustable with one hand. Always happy to see that on a bike. However, for a long distance tourer, it is too short and too narrow. On the highway, there is a little bit, not a little bit, there is too much wind resistance than I would love to have been.
The screen is adjustable with one hand. That's great, but there's just too much noise in the helmet. I'm not getting any buffeting on top of it. I'm getting a lot of noise on basically where your ears are, where you're not supposed to to be getting noise.
It's not buffeting. My head is not going up and down like that. It's just always constant pressure of wind there on the helmet, which becomes really tiresome after a while. So I would love to see a different, wider and taller windshield on the Tiger. The display, we've talked about that. Really no excuse for it to stutter or for it to be not fluid when it shows your RPMs. Sorry.
The 7-inch TFT screen is very bright, it's very clear, you can read it very well even if the sun is shining on it. However, what gets a little bit irritating is that it doesn't refresh as often as I would like it to refresh.
Vibrations after 5,000 RPMs. Sometimes you might be going more than 5,000 RPMs, but from my point of view, I think they are exaggerated, both in the handlebars and both in the foot pegs, for a bike that is always telling you to rev it more, always telling you to take me up to 7,000, take me up to 8,000. I've got enough power to give you there, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's just way too much vibrations. The navigation is Triumph's proprietary navigation software, and I don't understand why companies don't install, add to their bikes Google CarPlay and Android Auto, and they keep making their own proprietary stuff, which will always be worse than what you get on a system that has been worked on for years and years and years, and a lot of companies are using. I really have to give a well done to Honda, because they keep pushing it out in a lot of their bikes. Well done on that, but maybe a lot of other manufacturers should follow as well. Horn. I don't usually complain about horns. Most bikes have got absolutely horrible horns. This one I am ashamed to use on the public road.
I accidentally pressed the little tiny emasculating hooter. Never gonna do that again.
It's like a little, it's worse than a 50cc scooter one, if you can imagine what that would sound like. It's It's not an afterthought, it's a no thought. Hello, Triumph engineer, do we have a horn yet for this? No, we don't, sir. Okay, just find something in a bin somewhere and just slap it on. Horrible. Directional dial getting stuck. The little joystick that you navigate through the menus of the display sometimes gets stuck. This is a brand new bike, almost brand new. It's got 1,500 kilometers on it. That kind of quality control shouldn't happen. Most of this bike, and I've looked almost everywhere, is very well put together. The plastics are not cheap. It doesn't exude cost-cutting corners everywhere. It's really well put together. But that joystick, I see a lot of people complain about it, and I'm one of them. Not remembering riding modes. The moment you switch it off, it's not going to be in the same riding mode that you left it on. Maintenance. A lot of people don't talk about that. The air filter on this bike is under the tank. For comparison, the air filter on a big GS, it's got its own little compartment, takes about 5 minutes to change. This one's going to take a lot longer than 5 minutes, and if you do ride it through the dirt, you're going to need to change it quite often or clean it quite often. Secondly, valve adjustment, and you're going to hate me again for comparing it with the GS. It's a boxer, it's got its little covers exposed. It's not really a long job, tens of minutes, for example. This one, it's a triple. It's going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot more expensive when the dealer does it for you, or if you do it yourself, to actually check the valve clearance. That's about it for the complaining part. Not a lot, but a lot of little things that can be fixed quite easily and should have been fixed quite easily before actually releasing the bike. All in all, this is an absolute great bike to ride. If you're looking for a long distance tourer, if you're not really that much interested in going off-road, it can go off-road, but I mean, look, there's no protection for the headers over there. There's minimal protection for the engine. It comes with the engine crash bars as standard, but there's nothing afterwards. The GT version is not really a bike that's meant to go off-road. The rally versions are, obviously. But if you're looking for a tourer that is a lot more fun to ride than pretty much anything else in its class range, this is it. This is absolutely it. That engine is a lot of fun. The quick shifter is just plain amazing. This bike will not bore you whatsoever. You might need to change a few things to make it more comfortable for yourself, like the windshield. I would do that immediately. I'm sure there's an aftermarket one, or maybe even Triumph sells one. But yeah, this is one of the most fun long-distance sport tours that I've ridden. The engine is not very refined. The feeling that you get through the handlebars and through the foot pegs is not a very refined motorbike one, but it is what it is. It's fun. Alright, you guys have also sent in some questions. I don't know who this one is from. How does the big displacement wacky crank triple feel regarding vibration and power delivery in what should arguably be a smooth tourer? We've covered this one before. This is exactly what I thought as well. I was expecting the triple to be a lot more sportier than parallel twin. And it's not. It leans a lot more to a parallel. It's a lot more grunty. It's a lot more vibey, but put that together with the fact that it gives you power all the way, almost all the way up to the red line. That part is the sporty part. So it kind of combines both of those worlds together. It's a fun ride. The one I tested had annoying vibrations in higher revs, felt like high-pitched buzz through the handlebars and foot pegs over 5,000 RPM. Absolutely correct. That's what it does. You're not going to be spending most of your time over 5,000 RPM. And I think even the sports bikes, I just got off the XR before riding this, and that one as well, if you're going to rev it up, if you're going to go over 5,000 RPM, it's going to vibrate. You're not going to be spending most of your time there. And remember, that is a proper sports bike, a proper 4-cylinder sports bike. They do that because the engine gives you so much fun. Heated grips. Several YouTube reviews have commented very diplomatically that the heated grips do not work well. If the temps get low enough for you, maybe in a highway windy riding situation, please test the grips. It's not really that cold out here right now. It's sunny, it's beautiful, but I do have my own personal GS outside. It's got heated grips as well. I did test both of them. Those ones work a lot better than Triumph. So maybe that's something they need to work on as well. Low speed maneuvers. See Ian's review at Big Rock Moto. I did. Very well done, Ian. The Tigers did not chug as well as the GS at low speeds, sometimes even stalling. The power delivery, the throttle of this bike is very weird. I found that if you ride without touching the throttle at all, in first gear, the bike simply goes too fast. It goes about 18 kilometers an hour, if I remember correctly. That's just too fast.
It's very balanced at low speeds, but if you leave the clutch out completely, we'll take a look now. If you leave the clutch out completely in first gear, it's doing 18 k's an hour. So you've always got to feather the clutch on it.
Keep the power on and adjust the power to the rear wheel, feathering the clutch. That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, it'll just be way too jerky. I don't know if that's because of the shaft drive. I don't know if that's because of the throttle. Triumph is going to call it character. I'm just going to call it not very well done. How far can you go before the tank hits reserve? This one's got a 30-liter tank. It's a long-distance tour, again, compared with its other smaller brothers. 30 liters. I'm not the best person to test fuel range on, because I don't ride it as a normal person. There's lots of stopping, going fast, changing cameras, all of that. You should theoretically get about 500 to 600 kilometers on this, which is pretty much on par with most of the big tours out there. Fuel range is not going to be a problem with it, but because it's a very top-heavy bike, you're not going to want to fill that fuel tank all the way up all of the time, because you're just going to be riding with fuel that sits way up, and what's the point of dragging that around? Here's one from 68 Chewy that asks almost the same thing. Does it feel top heavy? Center of balance. It is top heavy. It is a top heavy bike. It's not a boxer. Nothing sticks out horizontally. Most of its weight is vertical like this. This is not a bike that you're going to be wanting to handle alone in the garage or in parking lots while you're not on it. You're going to be wanting to keep it mostly standing up straight. You feel the weight. It's a heavy bike and you do feel its weight. I wonder if you can hear all of these planes taking off. I'm very curious. Alright, I think we're gonna end it off here for today. I'm pretty sure there are lots of things that I have missed that I haven't put in yet, but I think this video is getting too long now. The comment section below is the right place for you if you're curious about any other things that I forgot to mention. I do read your comments and I will answer you. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. That always helps a lot. Consider becoming one of our subscribers. That helps the most. Or become one of our patrons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers. I'll see you guys on the next one.